Hi, everyone. Hope this message finds you well. Once again, we are meeting remotely, and hopefully this will be an idea that we can consider and dwell on, think about over the course of Shabbos. This week, these words are in honor of Nathaniel Rakovsky, whose bar mitzvah we celebrate this coming Shabbos. What's amazing about a bar mitzvah is that you really get a sense during this time of year what opportunities exist as the Jewish people achieve their freedom, which we'll discuss in the month of Nisan. The ability to do mitzvos is first and foremost. First and foremost, for Nathaniel, is the ability to do mitzvos that matter, that count, that can impact the community, that can impact himself. Long term, there's a story that's told of Rabbi Kamenetsky Zatzal. Rabbi Yaakov says that he once had a gift for a grandson for his bar mitzvah. He said to the boy, "If I give you a gift, will you make sure to use it?" The boy said, "Yes." He said, "Will you make sure not to waste it?" The boy said, "Yes." Goes to his study, which is high up on a shelf, pulls down a box, and inside the box is a watch. Presented the gift and said, "Don't waste it." Such an important message, not just for an aspiring adult, but all of us. As we develop, bar mitzvah is not the end, it's the beginning. It's not a milestone, it's a springboard. And so this week, we read Parshas HaChodesh. We read about the ability to set the months, to be in charge of time. The Medrash tells us, Medrash Tanchuma, when God created the world, God created time in a sense. Time was created in a sense. And we were given the ability, says the Medrash, Jewish people were given the ability to control time. We'll talk about that. But that's freedom. Real freedom is making intentional decisions about using time wisely, doing mitzvos, controlling your own time, not having somebody else control your time. And there is a Mishnah. The Mishnah tells us along these lines that Rabbi Gamliel was presiding over a rabbinical court. And in this rabbinical court, there were proceedings, but they were presiding over testimony. For the new month, the new moon was seen. Witnesses came and testified. And the rabbinical court, led by Rabbi Gamliel, accepted the testimony. That's how it works. They see the new moon. The month is declared. It's made holy. And the whole country, all the people follow this. Alas, it was found out that these witnesses were lying. Who knows what their motivations were? But it was clear that their testimony was in contradiction to the reality. And did they do it on purpose, do it by accident? There was a challenge made to Rabbi Gamliel by Rabbi Yoshua and another colleague. He said, "Look, we have to go around and tell the communities that it's not Rosh Chodesh." Rabbi Gamliel said, "People decide. We've rendered it to be Rosh Chodesh already." And he made Rabbi Yoshua commit, had to go through certain tests, but he made Rabbi Yoshua commit that once the rabbinical court, this human court, decides that the new moon has appeared, it's there. And sure enough, the halacha is, in accordance with that Mishnah, that the people decide when the time begins, when the new month begins. The same thing that we're about to say in Pesach. We say, Mekadesh Yisrael v'hazmanim. When it comes to Shabbos, the seventh day, This day of holy convocation, that was determined by God. That has to do with Genesis. But when it comes to Yantif, Mekadesh Yisrael, the Jewish people are responsible for Yantif being a holy day. It's not part of the Genesis, not part of God directly, so to speak. Another example, when the bar mitzvah, if you have two boys, and if you have a boy born during a leap year on Adar Sheni, when there is a second Adar, the first week, and that same year you have another boy who was born the last week of Adar Rishon, 13 years later when they have their bar mitzvah, who goes first? The boy who was born later, the boy who was born during the first week of Adar Sheni, the second Adar. His bar mitzvah is first. What happened? We all know the other boy came along. So we see that the Jewish people can control time. We're given this gift of time. Halakha can dictate what time it actually is. Retroactively, we have gone back in a sense and changed the science, the time, the sequencing, the maturity level, the maturation. According to some, perhaps even physiologically, but halachically. The boy born later, we tell him to have the bar mitzvah first. And so it is with us as well. Perhaps we could say, what's more significant? Tishrei, and those in my Gemara class will appreciate this. Tishrei or Nisan? Tishrei, the creation of the world. You can make the argument that in Nisan, the creation of the Jewish people, giving them the access to mitzvos, giving them time, that commodity, that non-tangible commodity, even more important, more significant. Given time, given the opportunity, doing mitzvos accordingly. And only when they had their freedom could they be commanded to utilize their freedom. Of course, the same thing exists with Shabbos. But when we have Shabbos and we go through Shabbos, we realize the importance of time. Rav Avram Yitzchak HaKohen Kook says that that's the beauty of freedom. Rav Kook Zatzal explains being able to choose God when you have the opportunity to choose God. We live in this country, America. We live in Western civilization where for most of us, most of the time, there's freedom of religion. If we're able to choose God, when we have this freedom of choosing anything we want, that's the real celebration of freedom. It's us understanding, in a sense, that we have the opportunity to utilize time. We're not going to let life live us. We're going to live life intentionally, taking control of being able to live time. And one, with regards to the specifics of our parsha, just one comment about the Mishkan. A related idea. When the Jewish people built the Mishkan, when they built the Mishkan, they thought, we're going to be in Israel soon. It's not that far away. And then after they built the Mishkan and they were punished, and you had the spies, and they were decreed and punished that it's going to be 40 years, the generation is going to die out. You know what? The Mishkan ended up lasting hundreds of years. And you see they had an eagerness, because from their perspective, the Mishkan was only going to be there for a little while. But they were zealous. They were excited about the mitzvah of building a Mishkan. And even though they knew it was going to be temporary, they put their all into it. And it lasted a very long time. So when it comes to a bar mitzvah, being excited about doing mitzvahs and now having this new reality of having actions matter and being able to do mitzvahs, bar mitzvah, the mitzvahs really matter. It's about being empowered with freedom, being empowered with choice, making those decisions count, taking full advantage of every opportunity from here on out. And we see from their zealousness with Mishkan representing a certain mentality for all mitzvah performance. That is the privilege, the luxury of freedom that we are so fortunate to have today. So Nathaniel, we wish you a big mazel tov. And we ask Hashem to grant you strength, perseverance, diligence, so many great talents. Perhaps say a little bit more over Shabbos. Wishing you a big mazel tov. Chazak, may you be inspired to live a life of mitzvos with the freedom and wonderful values that have been instilled within you by your family. Mazel tov, mazel tov, mazel tov.